I've lost 100 pounds and kept it off before and after baby. And I intend to lose all this weight too that I've put on with baby number 2 as well. So I know a thing or two about foods that deplete you, because I definitely didn't gain all that weight from eating avocado and kale. I can promise you that. What started as an unhealthy relationship with food when I was a kid and a preteen led to an all-out food addictive battle that lasted until my late 20s. Now, as a 35-year-old, soon-to-be mama of 2 boys, I am so thankful that I confronted these struggles head-on and learned a better balance before my babies came into this world. But that leads me to this question: where are you at with your daily food choices? Chances are, if you clicked on this episode, you are either struggling or maybe semi-curious about the foods you're eating and wondering if they are in fact setting you up to fail. As a mom, especially one of littles, I think we can all agree that it's so important to eat a healthy and balanced diet so we can maintain our energy levels and feel great about ourselves and keep up with those littles, right? So today I'm going to share and break down to you the top 5 foods to avoid if you want to look and feel vibrant, energized, and well-balanced as a mom. Sometimes it's about discovering what to add to our everyday lives to fuel our bodies and soul. But today, we're going to hone in and focus on what is draining you and talk about what you should take away immediately, especially if you want to keep up with that toddler that may or may not be coloring on your walls as we speak. So, without further ado, let's dive in and get you fueled. Hey mama, welcome to the Energized Mama podcast. Do you want a better work-life balance and more time and energy? Do you find yourself thinking, how can I add more hours into the day? Or are you Googling how to deal with mom guilt and can my marriage survive toddlers? Do you wake up with big goals only to feel overwhelmed and defeated when you have no one to help you and your littles aren't listening to you again? Hey, I'm Cheyanne. I too was an exhausted mom away from the help of my family. I too felt constantly drained with a strong-willed toddler and wished I could find balance between being a wife, a mom, stepmom, and entrepreneur. I wanted more energy to give myself and my husband, to discipline my kids confidently, and incorporate faith into our home. All the things, right? But I kept telling myself that I couldn't do it feeling this exhausted and without a community supporting around me. Until I found a healthy balance and endless energy in raising Jesus-loving littles. In this podcast, you will find that too. You will find time and energy boosting tips and tricks, guidance for disciplining your littles, and what to do when you have no help so that you will find balance between all your roles. Stop feeling drained and learn to trust your own mom tuition. Time to grab those headphones, pour that green smoothie, and get ready to get your daily energy boost. I've got you, mama. What do you do when you want to know if a restaurant is worthwhile or actually getting the food from there, right? You look up their reviews to see what have other people thought. Well, today I'm here to share with you a quick little review that I recently had come in for this podcast. The author's name is Intentional Edit, and he or she wrote that they find this podcast to be real, raw, and so great. The honesty and real mom issues and topics are refreshing. It is reassuring to be validated and feel like you're understood. Cheyanne makes every episode relatable and an easy listen. Well, Intentional Edit, thank you so much. That's such an honor to hear that you feel that way, and I really love getting your feedback. And I would love to get your feedback as well, mama. If you'd like to head over to Apple Podcasts, you can leave me a quick review and let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what episodes have hit you the best, the most, and what episodes you'd like to see come up in the future. You can go ahead and do so at Apple Podcasts, and you never know, yours might just be the next one I read out loud on a future podcast. All right, mama, here we go. We're going to dive in again to the top 5 foods that are known to deplete you of your energy. And we're going to talk about how you should limit or at least avoid or bring to a more moderation level so that you can contribute to raising your energy levels instead of depleting them. So here we go. First and foremost, food group number 1 that you want to make sure you avoid or limit is processed and packaged foods. Basically, the way I like to look at it is anything that God didn't make, you want to try to steer clear of them, or again, have them more as a special occasion. And why? Well, even though these things are often cheaper and quicker to make, They're often also high in sugar and salt and unhealthy fats, which can lead to a crash in energy levels. If you've ever chugged an entire bottle of Coke when you're really thirsty, you could probably experience this. I wouldn't necessarily do this as an example right now, but think about it, right? Anything that's high sugar usually gives you a quick instant high and then you crash and you get depleted. So instead, what I would recommend is to focus on more whole foods. Again, think about it. Did it come from the earth? Did God make it? That's what you want to focus in on. Those are things like fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats. One of my personal favorites, I already mentioned it in the intro, is avocado. I love avocado so much, and you can do so much with it. It's a healthy fat. It's very, very nutritional. It's actually considered a superfood. And one of my favorite things that you guys can easily Google, there we go, is to try out like something like avocado mousse, where you can make a yummy chocolate pudding that I tell you my toddler begs for every time I make it, or add it into a smoothie to give that nice creamy mix there. Number 2, that's right, we're to number 2 of a food you should make sure you want to avoid because it's totally depleting you moms of your energy is high sugar foods and drinks. And I know, right, we kind of know this, right? We know this in the conscious, but maybe subconsciously, these are a little bit harder to avoid. And if you're anything like me, I do like to know the what. I want these tactical, tangible steps, but I sometimes also like to know the why. And what happens when we consume high sugar foods such as soda, candy, even baked goods like muffins and bagels? They can lead to a quick spike in blood sugar, but then again, just like I said in step 1 with the soda, it's going to follow with a crash in energy levels. So it may give you that instant high when you're picking up your kid from preschool and you're in that, carpool line, but then as you start to drive home and you get home and when they really need you, you're going to crash. So I would recommend try to limit your intake of these foods and opt for like healthier alternatives such as fresh fruit or whole grain crackers or something that has a carb value that's going to come from like higher carb value, like a sweet potato chips or sweet potato fries, something that again is going to have carbs, but carbs are not the enemy, just like fruit has carbs, because they're going to be from that natural space and that's going to give you that long-term energy over time. Number 3, we're halfway there. Now, I hope many of you do not hate me or stop listening to me after this one. I promise. Again, this is where I'm going to emphasize that all of these foods are meant to be something that you want to limit or avoid. Doesn't mean completely not have in general. So here we go. It's the big C. You might have guessed it, caffeine. Yes, which very often comes in the form of the other mama favorite energy fueler, right? Is coffee. While caffeine can provide a temporary energy boost, too much caffeine can actually disrupt your sleep and lead to fatigue and depleted energy levels over time, especially if you're relying on it for energy. One of the issues is that caffeine is consumed so much with other things on this list, such as the high sugar foods, right? Or even processed and packaged sugars. So very often you're doing a double whammy to your body and to your mental state because you are depleting it in many different levels. Where if you're wanting a healthy caffeine alternative, I would suggest going towards a green tea or having an energy supplement from a company that you recommend. I absolutely love Beachbody's Energized, and you can actually find the link to grab mine in the link below. It is a pre-workout that I actually drink continually, sometimes throughout the day, because it has an herbal-based caffeine supplement that has a low caffeine quality, but helps you feeling fresh and really great throughout the day. Hey, mama. Do you wish there was a way to stop feeling emotionally drained by your life as a mom of littles? Do you wish you could have more energy for your husband without constantly feeling just totally physically exhausted? I know what it feels like to want more from your life than just being a mom. I know what it feels like to be overwhelmed with where to begin to stop the stress in my everyday life, and to have no idea what healthy habits to implement into my own home that'll actually make a difference. I also know what it feels like to be totally lost and how to create a realistic and sustainable plan that works for me in my home. And I know what it feels like to just think that you just can't be energetic while you parent a household full of littles that demand so much of you. At least one that doesn't rely on either coffee for energy or wine to distress. Am I right? Well, now I want you to imagine if you no longer felt completely exhausted at the end of your day. Imagine if you had the time to go on dates with your husband and you had the energy to give yourself some much needed me time. And if you had easy to implement systems and strategies that would allow you to be that energetic and vibrant mama you want to be, all at the same time while still raising your kids the exact way you want. Well, I have great news for you. That's why I created the More Energy Method, a customized blueprint to clear your chaos and bring back more energy into your everyday life. It's where I teach you to decrease stress while increasing your energy. You will be able to stick with this super simple plan, tailor-made for you, by the way, that will establish new healthy habits that'll unlock energy without taking away focus from your kids or require huge commitments of time. You will walk away with crystal clear clarity of exactly what to focus on. You'll walk away with a plan that'll help you exactly know how to do it, and with the confidence as a woman, wife, and mother to make the changes you need to and keep them for good. So mama, if you're ready to stop feeling overwhelmed and exhausted the moment you wake up and instead feel rejuvenated throughout the day and go to bed satisfied, even as a busy mom of littles, then there's no time like the present to take this step for yourself when you right now can actually get 20% off during the month of April and May. This offer will expire come June 1st, and I think we can both agree you deserve this freedom right now. Plus, when you buy now, you get my special bonus where I show you exactly how to implement this blueprint with your husband and unlock his own energy too. So go, head to energyformoms.com. I even have the link below to make it very simple for you. It's time to lose the stress while gaining yourself back and have endless amounts of energy for yourself, your husband, and a life beyond just your littles. One last tip on caffeine is that if you do decide to consume it, try to limit your intake and avoid consuming it in the late afternoon or evening, because besides food, another way that moms just in general feel a big depletion in their life is a lack of sleep. So again, by avoiding a lot of these different tips that I'm telling you right now in food, you're actually going to cause your body to have a more likelihood of having the ability to go to sleep and stay asleep and have that recovery and that rejuvenation that you want, all by just choosing the right foods to put in your body, or again, the ones to avoid. So here we are to number 4. Number 4 is alcohol. And this is alcohol of all different forms. So we're talking beer, wine, even your hard liquors like vodka, which I have to say is one of my personal favorites, and rum. But alcohol can be so destructive and depletive for a mom's health because it actually disrupts your sleep and it can lead to feelings of fatigue and low energy. So if you are going to consume alcohol, I would encourage you to limit your alcohol consumption and avoid drinking before bedtime. You'll know that if you've listened this far that the number 3 food to avoid was caffeine. And I'll never forget when I saw this Mythbusters episode where they tested alcohol versus caffeine and which one was better to have before you go to sleep, right? Most people would think, oh my gosh, caffeine would be awful to have before you go to sleep because it's an upper, right? It keeps you going and keeps you energetic. And the thing that they found was that actually caffeine was of the two better to consume in the evening. Not that you should choose one of those two, but out of the two, because caffeine, while yes, it kept you up and it kept you awake, once you fell asleep, the caffeine didn't really affect you, where alcohol, it is harder to digest than coffee. So when you actually fall asleep, and maybe you have felt this after a few glasses of wine, you fall asleep really easily, but maybe you're up a lot. Maybe your sleep is disturbed or you wake up feeling really restless. Well, that's because the alcohol took more energy to digest and process, and your body was working throughout the night, so you weren't actually able to rest. So again, think about when you can have alcohol, when it's something that is going to be enjoyed, but not something that's going to deplete you, especially if it's on an everyday or every night basis. Okay, mamas, we made it to number 5. So the 5th food I'm going to share with you that is known to deplete moms of their energy is fried and fatty foods, right? It's basically fast food, fried chicken, fried this, potato chips, everything that is not in its natural state that probably like oil or maybe being added to oil has been added to it. The issue is that they can be really high in calories, and they're going to be artificial calories, calories that are not actually going to fuel you, and also unhealthy fats. So they've got a double whammy there. And both of those two combinations, when found in the same food, can actually lead to feelings of sluggishness and fatigue, right? Think about the last time maybe you've had a plate of French fries. Man, do they taste good going down, but afterwards, oh my, it's hard to even want to leave the couch afterwards, right? It's like your body is telling you, is shouting to you what these foods are doing to you. And today, now I'm sure you've seen where all of these foods very often are unfortunately consumed together. So even if you could spread them out over time, that's a much better way to be balanced and still have these foods, right? Still have your cake and eat it too. Now, when it comes to the fried and fatty foods, focusing on healthier options is another way to still incorporate these type of foods, or maybe the feeling these foods give you, or some of these tastes and flavors in a different way. So you could always swap, instead of, if you love chicken, instead of having the fried, go for a more grilled chicken, maybe add some of the same herbs and spices that you would have on your fried chicken. And also, again, if you're a French fry fan, like a lot of my family is here in Belgium, opt for baked sweet potato fries instead. I promise, they are so yummy. Can we say hooray for energy maintenance? Yes, that is what it's all about, mama. Instead of relying on energy drinks and coffee to just basically sustain you and get you throughout the day and try to keep your energy levels high, write this list down above, okay? There were 5 things. A quick review right now is processed and packaged foods, high sugar foods and drinks, caffeine, alcohol, and fried and fatty foods. This is the list that you want to get it down, print it out, put it in your kitchen, staple it to your forehead, whatever you do, make it a habit to stop buying these things and bringing them into your household, because they are literally weighing you down and depleting you from being that mom that you want to be. So often when I am coaching moms just like you, I share that before we can focus on what fuels us, before we can focus on what makes us feel good and how we can add energy into our lives, we have to first acknowledge and get really clear about what takes energy away from us, right? So once you take these foods away that deplete you, once you stop these drainers, then you can focus on adding what fuels you and what foods are going to fuel you through your long, tiring days as a mom of littles. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it along to another mama who you know is feeling depleted and could really use it. And secondly, I would love to invite you to my free Facebook group on Facebook. It is a community full of moms just like you that want to get healthier, want to have more energy, and figure out how to balance their life with all this craziness that involves raising littles. It's a safe place where you can be real, get raw, and also laugh and have fun. You'll find the link below, and you can find us if you just type into any URL, momnationcommunity.com. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Energized Mom. It's my goal to take my energy and everything that I've learned and give it back to you so that you can be that energetic and vibrant mama that you feel called to be and that you want to be while you're raising littles and beyond. Again, thank you for listening to this episode, and I look forward to already seeing you and joining you on the next one.